how to pass your ACCA PM exam and some top tutor tips. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I know just the gentleman today who is making a absolute beeline for his top PM tips, and that is Steve Willis, who has kindly joined me on the channel today. Steve, feel free to introduce yourself, my friend.
Hello, ACCA students. James, thank you for introducing me. Thank you for inviting me onto your channel. I'm really excited to help our students get a pass on this difficult paper. Guys, I've been helping people like you for about 20 years pass this difficult exam. Let's get rocking.
Spot on, Steve. Well, pen and paper at the ready, guys. Make sure you subscribe to Steve's channel along with mine at the bottom. All the details are down there, but we're going to get straight into it now. So, Steve, kick us off. First top tip, what we're going.
Guys, I know this is going to sound like a cliche, but you've got to get in the right mindset. I want you to think back to the science fiction classic movie, The Matrix. If you remember the beginning of The Matrix, the protagonist, Neo, he's getting chased by the bad guys. He's on a ledge. He's hanging on to the side of the building. Guys, that's my students in the weeks before the exam. Panic. That is when the amygdala, that's the lizard part of your brain that's responsible for fight and flight. If that part of your brain is sending signals, you can't be rational, you can't make rational decisions. When you get to the end of that movie, he has found a new state of consciousness when he realizes that he can just beat the bad guys by thinking about it. And if you are stressed out, if you are freaked out, you cannot scoop up the easy marks in PM. So guys, to get into the right state of mind, you've got to make a study plan.
Yeah.
You got to take that big, massive list of PM topics. You got to put it one topic into one study session. And don't worry about that exam. It's still weeks away. It's days away. What can you achieve in this study session? Can you do a couple of OT questions from section A if you're at lunchtime, or if it's Saturday morning and you got a couple of hours, can you try 3 section C long form questions? Okay, so got to get in the right state of mind. First tip.
Cool stuff. And in terms of if we've got your PM students in front of us right now, Steve, what do you tell them as to planning out from this is where you're at to here's the exam? How do they go about that process that's got a best chance of succeeding?
Okay, all of us have different constraints on our time. I've got kids, I've got a family. Some of you same, some of you different. What you've got to do is block out your free time from now till the exam. As soon as this video is over, guys, don't say you're going to do it tomorrow. When you're done watching this. Now, if you have 20 minutes at lunchtime, that is a study session.
Yeah.
You can get up an hour earlier 3 times a week. That is a study session. On the weekend, block out. Don't say I'm going to study all day. That's not realistic. I want you to say, I'll get up at 6 a.m. I'll put in 2 hours. I'll go for a run. I'll do a mid-morning session. I'll do a mock exam mid-morning. Then I'll go take some time in the afternoon. Then I'll come back for a mid-afternoon session. I'll do OT questions. Then in the evening, you're going to come back and you're going to do a couple of section B questions. That's an effective weekend study plan, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, no, I think it's really good on that as to even if it's just 15 minutes, half an hour, and then fitting in the different areas of the PM exam, whether it's section A, B, and C, to how much available time that you actually have. But going on to those sort of sections, what are your thoughts on A, B, and C? Do you recommend a particular order? What about topics?
Absolutely,
Talk us through it.
Okay, this comes back to being in the right state of mind. When you've turned off that lizard brain, when you are up early in the morning, you're just worried about what can I do today? Well, I want you to remember, passing PM, you got to do 3 things. And you guys can do this. You got to get 8 out of 15 in section A. That's your first objective, guys. Okay, you're going to go through section A. You're going to give yourself 50 minutes, and you are going to go on a quest for 3 easy ones that you can do quickly. An easy one or an easier one might be a theoretical question where you're evaluating 4 statements, because you can do that relatively quickly. And I want you to remember, every word is chosen. So if you are evaluating statements about budgeting, which 2 statements go with incremental budgeting or rolling budget? You remember that the distractors are not random, ham sandwich, Swiss cheese. No, they're going to be other types of budgets. So you go through and you eliminate the obvious wrong distractors. Then you come back and you scoop up 3 easy questions, go back through, and now you're going to do the shorter numerical questions when the information is laid out tabular. You can often do those a bit faster, or if it's something that you like, if it's target costing, oh, I know that one, I'm going to go for that one. Oh, look, this one's transfer pricing, I'll come back to that later. So you got to get through there. So you can get 8 out of 15 in the first 50 minutes.
Nice.
Okay.
So go theoretical, wordy questions in section A first, skip the sort of numbers ones and do them all together, more time effective.
That's what I recommend. Always, guys, also guess. As you go through, put your guess and flag it. So if something bad happens later and you don't have a chance to get back there, at least you've made your guess.
Super stuff. And then what about the rest of the exam? What are we thinking?
Then you got to skip over section B. Strangely, section B, its objective test should be easy, but I think it's the most difficult. Then you're going to go to section C of the exam. And guys, you got to remember, in section C, they will be testing writing skills. This is, in my opinion, one of the most under-practiced aspect of PM, and it's one of the main reasons for a marginal fail. So if a student got a 48 or a 49, if they had just developed their idea a tiny bit more, when they evaluated the performance of the company, if they just said 2 more times how something happened or why it happened, it would have been a 51, okay? So go to section C. And half of that, roughly half of section C, you're expressing yourself writing, right, in complete sentences. When you are assessing performance of a company, I think that's one of the most commonly examined requirements. You've got to express judgment. Is this right? It's easy to calculate those metrics. We can all calculate a gross profit margin, but what does that tell us about performance? Express judgment. And then link it back to that beautiful little story that the examining team puts so much love and effort into. So you got to say, this means blah, blah, blah. And then sprinkle in the word however every once in a while. So you can look at it from another angle. However, it could be due to something else as well. So you got to get the writing marks, guys.
Oh, it's worth noting as well, it's marked by a person. So imagine you're marking it yourself. Think about if it's 4 marks, 4 decent points, separate them out. All these little bits of exam technique will add up to you getting the mark or not getting the mark on there. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Now, in section C, you also have to remember the own figure rule. You will be marked step by step. They're marking your approach. So if you're doing a budget and you get the cost per unit wrong, right, everything else in your budget will be incorrect. You could still get a very solid pass if you got that cost per unit wrong, because any error will be assumed correct by the marking team
as it goes through,
as long as they can follow what you're doing. So My tip then in section C, after you do the easy writing parts or the easier writing parts, you always make a step-by-step template or pro forma. Lay out what you're going to do, then do it. If you get stuck on something difficult, especially variance analysis, right? There's a lot of tricky little side calculations. There's nuances. So if one little bit is a bit strange, it's difficult for everybody in that whole exam hall. It's not just you. So just try your best, put something down, even if it's an assumed number, and just keep it moving. So you got to keep it moving is another tip. Don't get hung up on one line of the spreadsheet.
Exactly. Then to keep us moving on to section B, what are your thoughts on section B of the PM exam?
All right. Very important. Before you get to section B, you've got to be ruthless with your time management, and you're spending 34 minutes per question in section C. Now, when you get into B, you immediately, B, as you guys know, you got 5 OT questions linked to a little story, a scenario. You quickly scroll through the 5 questions, and you're going to do the theoretical ones again first, because you can just do them faster. So you find those 2 theoretical ones, and often they're at the end of the list.
Yeah.
Right? So you find those, then you read the story, then you clear the 2 easier ones. And guys, then you only need to get 3 out of 5 correct. So then you'll do the next easiest numerical one. Then you'll try the 4th one. Maybe you run out of time on the 4th one. You do a guess. You didn't touch the 5th one, but that's not a problem. The 5th one had 2 multiple choices. Give me the throughput accounting ratio for 2 products. Guys, that's going to take me 7 minutes, 8 minutes to do that. I'm doing that at the end, and I'm guessing if I don't have that, if I don't have it. So 17 minutes per scenario in section B. Be ruthless with your time management. There you go. That's my approach to getting a pass on
Wow. I think that's spot on. And to add to that as well, it's the CBE practice. It's doing the questions to time. What are your thoughts on encompassing that in your study plan and your practice before the exams, along with, we've not even discussed mocks as well.
Yeah. Friends, we find comfort in the familiarity of reading the textbook. We read, that's how we studied in the past. Oh, I'm making progress. I'm going to read all about activity-based costing. Guys, that's really giving you diminishing returns on your time. You're much better off learning by doing past exam questions.
Yeah.
Yes, you got to know what ABC is all about. And I suggest you do that through some summarized notes. And if those notes don't make sense, then you dig into that textbook. But early on, start working from an approved publisher's revision book, revision kit. Now, I'm not getting any, I'm not sponsored by that at all, but you got to use the approved ones. And that's changing soon, by the way, because they are up to date.
Yeah.
And they have been checked. If you're just randomly grabbing stuff off the internet because it's free, yeah, someone might have a bank of OT questions, but there's stuff there that's not in the syllabus anymore. Right? So I really recommend, if you're going to make one investment, buy a new question book. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I can put a link down below for this video. Check them out on there. Those be the ones, along with the technical articles, reading the examiner's reports, all these other credible free resources that the ACCA put out. So underused, and I'd be putting into my revision practice as well.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, when you have that book, just make sure you study a topic as soon as you can, get into the section A questions. And when you get something wrong, I recommend you make a list. You make a list on a piece of paper, a smiley face, a frowny face. When you get something right, oh, activity-based costing, I did that well. Oh, look over here, throughput accounting ratio. I got that one wrong. So now you got to go back and continue studying that topic. Be very, when you are studying, learning by doing questions, make sure you know why all of the wrong answers are wrong. You can learn so much by evaluating the wrong answers. And that's really getting you prepped up for your exam. When you can, it's not only pick out the right one, but why are the wrong ones wrong?
Yeah, but again, it comes down to time, writing down what you didn't know as well. Don't expect yourself to remember everything on there, but you've got to work out different systems, what works best for you. And these will be the difference, like we're saying, picking up on those little extra marks on there. But Steve, what are we thinking as to a final tip for today as to if you've got a PM student listening to this, what is going to be the difference to maybe get them that 50 plus?
Okay, avoid the Pareto's principle when you are studying, the 80-20 rule of life. 20% of our efforts give us 80% of our outcomes. We have some difficult topics in PM. We got variance analysis. We've got linear programming. We've got transfer pricing. It's very easy to get lost in the rabbit hole of one of these difficult topics. You panic, you freak out. I'm going to spend this whole weekend on transfer pricing. No, when you feel that panic, that stress happening, put the difficult topic down and do something else. Go around the whole syllabus, because you could spend, when you are freaked out and worried, it's going to be difficult to learn new things. So just put it down. It'll be there tomorrow morning for you. If you're stressed out, do it next morning, okay? But just make sure you don't overstudy those difficult topics. Keep it moving around the whole syllabus.
Absolutely spot on. I must say, Steve, some fantastic tips today, because as we know, they can test absolutely anything in Section A. And in the final thing to add, I would say, is if anyone's watching this and they failed PM, have a look on your ACCA platform. You can go and review how you got on in that previous exam. It breaks it down into each section, and that tells you which areas of the syllabus you showed weakness on the exam. They can't show you what questions, what you answered. But we never used to have that in our day, Steve.
That's a game changer for me. It tells you exactly where you went wrong. Yeah. Also with time management, which section of the exam. So right there is your study plan if you're resitting.
100% on there. But I have to say, Steve, thank you so much for your time today and sharing all your insights, all your experience. And it's been absolutely marvelous to have you on the channel.
Thank you, James. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Marvelous. Thank you very much, guys. Leave us any questions you've got below. Be sure to like this video and share this with an ACCA student who you know has got the PM exam, because it's definitely going to help them to pass on there. But again,
good luck, guys. I know you can do it.
Cheers, guys. Have a great day. Best luck with your exam.